may I ask everybody at the table real quick before we go forward? So you're an ANC commissioner, correct? Do any of you look at the DC Register where notices are published about public meetings on a regular basis and serves as the official organ for the District of Columbia government for providing notice to the public of meetings? Okay, thank you. That's all I
I
need.
listen to radio, I watch TV. So those are options in terms of what is more effective than having the register. Just saying.
I hear you.
I was listening earlier to a lot of the, I wish to be from those companies who are still here.
They are. They're all. I am looking at a representative from AT&T. I'm looking at a representative from Verizon.
The people who were testifying, were they here?
Yeah, they're here.
How many of y'all live in the district? Okay, I just want to know.
No, Gus, they wanted to know who from the companies lives in the district.
Okay. But you want to bring your private into me, right? Just to make sure I'm clear about that one.
I live in the district.
I do too, which is why I'm concerned about this issue.
As are we.
I heard you talking earlier about regulations for newspaper boxes.
Yes, sir.
How specific they are, the size, paint, lettering. If I went to put a newspaper box up, I'm going to put lead paint on the box.
See, we don't regulate lead paint. That's a great, thank you. That's a perfect example. We don't regulate lead paint.
So I can
that
do
would be
it.
a department. No, I didn't say you could do it. I said we don't regulate that. That would probably be a Department of Health matter, and that would be the entity to whom you adjourn, because the Department of Health has the subject matter expertise, the authority and jurisdiction to regulate that element. We would have the authority to, just like they wouldn't have the authority to regulate whether it was attached to a street light, we would. So different government agencies have different authorities and jurisdictions to govern those things that are within their purview and within their authority. So in our case, sorry, say that again?
If I put the box up, I come to you, get the group for the box, the colors or whatever, and go to them, figure out the paint is good. Is that what you're saying? Is that how the process works?
Generally speaking, that would be the process, but I don't know that you need to go to them to get official permission for the paint. I think you would find that a paint sold in the District of Columbia would presumably meet guidelines if you went to Home Depot. But I leave that with the Department of Health. That's a great question to ask them.
Okay. So my concern is, if it's in your public space, or the public space, what I'm concerned about
About
the effect of the paint on the box in terms of people that might be exposed to the paint.
do I have a concern about
Yes.
that? That's an irrelevant question for the purposes of the Public Space Committee. We don't have, and I'll explain why. We don't have jurisdiction or authority over paint in public space.
Sorry, let me be clear. We hear your question. Why don't you tee up the question for us in writing, and we'll see if we get a response.
You said that there are a lot of regulations on the box. I just assume that I think we buy the regulations. Let's get into it.
So the regulations on newspaper boxes are available at dcregs.dc.gov, as is the DC Register. It's a great one-stop shop for all sorts of information related to the District of Columbia government and its regulatory authority and its announcements. Okay.
Yes.
And it can, but the kind of DNA damages that has been shown using microwave exposure at the exactly same type as for wireless internet systems is such that it could maybe in the future evolve into, for instance, brain tumors. And so that's again a scary panorama in the future, and hopefully it will not. But I mean, after all, we are playing with the most precious item you have, namely your own children.
Do you think that there is a chance that in the third generation of females, they may be irreversible sterile?
Not in the third generation, but in the fifth generation, and that would for humans be something in the order of 150 years ahead of us. And of course, then it's too late to say that you are sorry, and it's very too late to say stop. So I would suggest that you have, at least for the time being, a moratorium, a stop to these systems, use a wide in the meantime, and check out for effects of radiation. And again, as you say yourself, there's a wealth of papers. I mean, we're talking about thousands of published papers in the scientific literature, few of which, or sometimes none of which, have entered the official documentations from authorities and likewise. So I think it's really time to have an independent compilation of data. Such was done at August 31st, 2007, in the form of the Bioinitiative report, of which I was one of the authors. And then we put together approximately 2,000 scientific references on a little bit more than 600 pages, clearly saying that if you, for instance, if you are a rat or a mouse or a cell or a molecule, you should definitely not allow yourself to be exposed to this. And in the meantime, we have this full-scale experiment using our own kids.
So I got a suggestion. Since we want to roll out this 5G technology, there's a rat problem in DC. Why don't we put them all underground? Because there won't be anybody to drive driverless cars in hundreds of years. This man's and the scientists are saying that this ain't true. There'll be no people riding on driverless cars. There'll be 5G. There's no 5G technologies. It's just a rush to make good money for companies without putting out the public system. And it's a signal, if you only regulate the public space, then why are you allowing the signal coming to my house?
Again, those are great questions to take to the relevant authorities.
Well, okay.
In this case, our understanding is that it would be the Federal Communications Commission. And then from the Federal Communications Commission, whichever agency or department of the District of Columbia would have jurisdiction or authority over that element of the Federal Communications Commission's standards and guidelines.
So what you're saying to me is, you regulate the public space. You don't put something in public space and point it back. Me in my private space. That's what you're doing.
I'm sorry, so what I'm hearing you say is your concern is about radio frequencies reaching into your private property.
Exactly. I don't need to know how much trash is in my trash bin. I can figure that out myself. I don't need to know how much milk is in my food. I don't know see how much. So the 5G, the Internet of Things, is all a gimmick. But the most important point is maybe here. And if we don't stop this train that's running down the track, there'll be nobody around out in the other internet. This is very serious. And we can stay within our little boxes and act like we're not going to be tunnel vision about this. We need to take a broader approach to dealing with realities of what this internet is going to, what the radio frequencies are going to us and our children. And there's all kinds of evidence to show, thousands and thousands of scientific evidence to show that when you combine one toxin with another, so lead is a problem. Lead's a problem in the environment. We see it. When you combine radio frequencies to lead, they've done studies to show that it increases the amount of toxicity in the system. So a lot of children in DC have lead in the system. Well, it's okay to push out this energy and the adversely affect these children because we got to regulate the public space. I think it's a cop-out.
Thank you. Sir? John, hold on one second, sir. Sir, let Jonathan assist with removing it and putting in the new one. Thank you. And I want to say to the staff who have been here throughout this, thank you very much.